Hey again YouTube, Nutjob with Machete back with, well of course it's a machete review. This is another product from Condor. I've reviewed their bush knife, their Chinese dadao. I'll have the Sinbad scimitar for you guys in the future, and now I've got their Condor Crocodilian Machete. Now you guys know me, in the past you'll have seen me say, you know, stuff that's like really rigid and everything isn't really a machete. I'll admit my opinion has kind of evolved over the years. I still think that a few of the things that I reviewed, they were designed as just big ass knives, but whatever. This is a rigid chopper that I actually think could be a fairly damn good machete. Enough yammering to show you it. So, the sheath, because of course I'm going to talk more about this. The sheath is their nice stitched, actually double stitched, leather sheath with the Condor logo and a swivel. It's actually pretty damn good sheath. It holds the blade in, but it will come out a little bit if obviously it hangs upside down. But it's actually really well made and perfectly sized for the machete. And I actually rather enjoy the sheath a bit. This was on my hip for about 4 days when I was at the farm. But the machete. What about the machete? Well, this thing, come a little bit closer for you. It's 18 inches overall. They say it has a 12-inch blade. That's technically true from this edge all the way until where the handle starts. The cutting surface actually starts from here. And if you measure this distance, it's 11 inches. It actually has a 13-inch cutting surface because of this nice big belly and end. You'll also see right here, there, let's put my hand that way, it's got a little extra steel here, and that actually makes a hell of a difference when it comes to chopping. Now, it is one solid piece of steel with a slightly ovoid handle, and of course it's hollow. So again, what they did was had the steel and just kind of folded it over and then sealed it in place. It's actually pretty comfortable in the hand. The only thing that I noticed was that this paracord that they give you, I'm showing you one side only with a little bit dangling out because it's not quite wrapped the same as they wrapped it. They were able to get it really, really tight. I had to take the paracord out because I made a different handle. I'll show you in a minute. And getting it as tight as them, I couldn't really do that. So instead I just wrapped it and locked it in place with this. And it's actually as good, or maybe a little bit better, if I'm going to toot my own horn, as their original wrap. So yeah, the paracord, wear gloves when you're using this thing, just because I ended up, while I was testing it, which I'll show you in a minute, I ended up getting a blister really, really quickly in a spot I normally don't get blisters just because of all the rubbing from the paracord. So that's just one thing to note. It's 1075 high carbon steel, so it will rust if you don't clean it. I used it for about 3 days straight and actually wanted to test it, see how quickly it would rust. And so I didn't clean it each one of those days, and instead I checked it the next morning. And it did start to rust just a little bit after the second day. I was chopping into both live and dead, so there's different moisture contents. But you do want to check it every once in a while. You can just oil it up. What I've done for this one is I wanted to seal it a little bit better. So I flitzed it again. And the flitz, I've actually noticed, completely inhibits rust because I did the same thing, chopped some live and some wet stuff a couple of days ago. And I'll show you some of what I did. And it hasn't actually rusted up at all, which is kind of nice. So let's take a look at that blade. If you hear noise in the background, I apologize. There's construction out front. But you can see this nice, almost a hammered steel finish. It's pretty and ugly at the same time. Kind of like Miles' stuff. And the only thing you might notice is on the back on yours. It's hard to show you on camera. But the back kind of looks like it's been sheared rather than cut. So you don't have really a clean finish. Not a big deal. But yeah, nice thick blade, and the edge is Actually really, really sharp. Just do that instead of showing you a paper test. The reason I'm not going to do a paper test is it's a convex edge. And they don't, well, for me, for some reason, I can't seem to get the draw just right to show you the slicing ability of it. But I can attest to the sharpness of it, because while I was sharpening it one day, I just barely touched my thumb to the edge. I don't even remember why, and it took a chunk out of my skin. So yeah, you know what, why don't I show you guys some actually moderate to heavy usage, and we'll come right back. So yeah, I'm not going to actually show you guys a meat test for this one because, well, a couple of reasons. One was I wanted to see whether or not I could maybe get something unique to show you, and one guy kept asking in one of the other reviews, can it kill a gator? So I looked into getting gator meat, and I'm in Alberta, and that's next to impossible. The closest gator is down at the zoo, and I'm fairly certain I'm going to jail if I do that. And the other reason is this isn't really much of a weapon to me. I mean, zombie apocalypse, whatever you want to think of, the weight and the weight forward design, the convex edge, thunk. It'll do the business. And in fact, you probably could use this if you were in the bush and you needed, say you were hunting or something like that and you needed to dispatch the animal, you probably could with this. I'm just not thinking of that as, you know, one of its primary uses. So, sorry, no meat test. But as you saw in the chop tests, now I did do another chop test with an even bigger tree, and I would love to show you the footage for that, but I screwed it up, and I only filmed my setup shots and not the actual filming, which sucked because it was honestly testing all of my choppers, everything from this all the way up to Miles's stuff and bigger. And since I finished chopping up that damn tree, there wasn't really another opportunity to do so. So, sorry about that. But as you can see from chopping into the green stuff and chopping into the dead stuff, this bites in really easily. And I didn't actually use a handle extension on it at all. Chopped right in. Sometimes I had to give it a little more force just to get it to bury in. But most of those were dead wood. And I was trying 90-degree chops rather than, you know, off at an angle, which is the better chop. but it handled really, really well. There was no real arm fatigue, and admittedly, what I showed you guys is really just the tip of the iceberg for what I was doing that week. I probably moved somewhere around half a metric ton of lumber and had to chop it up, take it down the silage, yak. But my arm actually wasn't that tired after it, so that was kind of nice. I did have the blister, but whatever. So I keep mentioning, you know, extending the handle, or that I didn't use an extension. Why am I talking about that? Well, because you can actually, and this is why, one of the other reasons why I wrap the paracord like this, you can take off the end of the paracord, and they've just got a hole here where the paracord goes through, and they've got another hole up top where the paracord goes through, and they've tied a knot on the inside, pulled the paracord through here, and just wrapped it around in a single spiral. And then they must have packed it pretty tight, because like I said, mine's packed and I still got quite a bit of extra paracord. But anyways, untie the knot down here, pull it out. I find the paracord gets in the way, and you can stick in a different handle. Now, Miles from We All Juggle Knives, and Miles, if you're watching this, hi! He took an old axe handle and just fashioned it down into, you know, making this almost a two-handed machete. And I actually like what he did. I wanted to see if maybe some of the lumber that I chopped up would be suitable for making an axe handle. So I actually did do it, and again, it was part of that bit that I thought I filmed. But I fashioned up just a simple handle, and it actually, just a couple of whacks, makes it into two-handed machete. And I chose this piece because it's got this nice swell on the back, so when you chop, you can actually get a little bit of force and a little bit of a pull to it, and you get a nice and decent chop. Now, why did I do that out of, you know, essentially deadfall? Well, to show you that you could. Give me a sec, take this off, and I'll come close and show you. So this is just a piece of, I think it's Japanese choke cherry. I just chose moderately hardwood, like I wasn't going to choose the oak. The oak was actually still green, so, and the poplar was kind of punky, so Japanese choke cherry. Anyways, what I did was I took the branch and the machete and then a mallet and actually hunkered down into it just to kind of give me, well, you can see a spot for the shoulders and a spot for this. Then, just like batoning, you just split down the wood on both sides, and then I did the back portion. Now this one kind of looks a little bit rough because, of course, as I was going down a little bit, I needed to reshape this. So yeah, in about 10 minutes total shaping time, and then say another 10-15 minutes actually using the machete to whittle it down a bit, I was able to make a decent field expedient handle for the machete. Now you can always just, you know, thunk it down on the ground or on a rock, but for right now, here we go. And the paracord, do whatever you want with it. You can wrap it all the way down if you wanted to. Hell, you could tie the handle on if you really wanted to, but or you could take it completely off. I know some guys don't like this, and so they'll Yonex wrap it or tennis racket wrap, whatever. But yeah, not a bad little extension for making it in about 20 minutes. And the reason I did that, and I'm showing you, besides, you know, hey, cool, I made a handle, is to kind of show the versatility of this thing. I did all of this with this, so it can baton, for sure. I chopped up the wood, and then I wanted to actually kind of sand it clean on this end, just to make it a little bit prettier, so I took it to the chop saw to clean off this end. But I chopped this end with this. The whole material was processed with the machete, a little bit of fine work, and it did all of it actually fairly well. So if you did want to use it as that maybe all-in-one bigger knife, smaller machete kind of combo, you actually could do it without really much difficulty. Well, I mean, there's not a lot more I can add to this. The oval handle really gives you a nice way to align the blade. A round handle doesn't quite do it as well. So I do appreciate that they gave me this nice oval handle. It did make making this a little bit more challenging because it wasn't like you could just grab a broom handle or a semi-round stick and cram it in the hole. I suppose if you wanted to, you could put this on like a walking stick if you needed to use it as a spear. To me, it's not really pointy enough to use as a spear very well. It'll work, but you know, piss off the bear or whatever you're poking. Anyways, yeah, just really wanted to show you that, you know, it could do the little bit of fine work that I needed for this, as well as being a fairly big chopper. And, you know, on top of that, it was pretty damn useful and kind of fun. Again, you can replace the paracord if you don't like it. I might just actually make a slightly more refined handle, stick it on there, and then paracord the whole thing. We'll see. If I do, I'll show you guys some pictures over on Tumblr. Which, by the way, if you didn't know, I'm on Tumblr and Twitter. At NutjobWMachete on Twitter, and Nutjob with a Machete on Tumblr. So, yeah. But yeah, there's not really anything else I can add to this. It's a good little chopper. Like I said, it's about 18 inches with 11-inch cutting surface, 12-inch blade. Fairly lightweight. I'll put the specs and everything, of course, below so that you guys can know it. And yeah, the sheath is actually pretty damn good. So for the price point, which, by the way, this was about $65. I was debating between this and the Mitagi, and I wanted this. So I might get the Mitagi, don't worry. But yeah, for the price point, it's actually a pretty damn good chopper. It's really tough. And yeah, that's about it. Thanks so much for watching this review. If you like reviews like this, please feel free to click like, feel free to subscribe for more in the future, and as always, feel free to share this video as much as you want. Hey, maybe on Twitter and Tumblr, I'll see you there. Till next time, guys, I'm Nutjob with a Machete. Stay sharp.